Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing well because today we're talking about music and we're doing episode 2 of What's Good. And you'll notice a special guest is here with us again. So I'm going to hand over the reins to introduce themselves and pick our first item. For those of you who don't recall already, What's Good? It's just a discussion kind of style. We pick four things we've been into. So it could be new album to us, something old, a classic we're revisiting, could be a book, could be, comics, could be a movie, could be concert, whatever it is that's good that we're excited about. So once again, I'll hand it over to our guest for the day.
Well, thank you so much, Darcy, and I'm so happy to be the second. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm following in the footsteps of the great Jax Russell, so
Of course, yeah,
the pressure is on, and I'm feeling my heart accelerating as we talk. But it's me,
yeah,
Mike, from Grab a Stack of Rock, where you'll also find guys like Jax Russell, and hopefully you at some point in the future.
I love it. Yeah, that'd be great.
This is our very first recording together, and I'm so
Mhm.
excited because I love the whole concept of what's good,
Mhm.
and I've got all music related stuff, although perhaps
Great.
a variety. And I guess I'll get started.
Yeah, go for it. Take it away.
I want to start with something very special here. Um, this is a brand new music book just released by a somebody from the WordPress community, Angie Moon. And she has had the Crazy on Classic Rock WordPress site for years now, probably a decade. And it's grown and grown and grown. And finally, she's written her first book. And this comes direct from the author. It's always nice to
Oh,
support the author, and that all the proceeds are going directly to her. But
yeah,
this is her very first book called Crime of the Century: Classic Rock and True Crime by Angie Moon. Now,
cool.
and look at that really nice design too. She's
Yeah,
very talented with visual design. Now, I know she wants me to share this unboxing with her, so you'll have to give me the address.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and I'm really sorry. I thought I was going to be more prepared than this and tell you where you can get this. But if you go to the Crazy on Classic Rock WordPress, I guarantee you will be able to find out how to order this book. I'm sorry I don't have the information on hand, but
Hmm.
there she signed it for me. And yes, she's going to be on our show. We're going to interview her about this book. So, Crime of the Century, classic rock and true crime. Like,
Is
I
that
don't
so?
know.
Is that fiction or nonfiction or?
It is nonfiction.
Oh,
This
okay,
is
cool.
all researched by her. This is all her own original research. And I have purposely avoided reading the PDF that she sent me because I wanted to have it in hand.
Of course.
And I'm
Yeah,
I'm really excited. I'll just read from the back here.
yeah, 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 yeah.
From rock stars' chilling encounters with killers to musicians turned criminals, this comprehensive book uncovers the most chilling encounters, such as the band playing at Jack Ruby's nightclub months before Lee Harvey Oswald was killed on live television, the
Wow.
Beach Boys' association with Charles Manson shortly before the Tate LaBianca murders, the Kinks meeting John Wayne Gacy during their infamous 1965 US tour, and Debbie Harry allegedly getting into Ted Bundy's car in New York in the 1970s. So there's just some of the stories there. And again, I'm just really happy to support somebody that came from the WordPress community where I also came from.
Yeah, of
And
course. That
I'm very sorry, Angie, that I didn't write down your information, but go to Crazy and Classic Rock, and I guarantee you will find her.
That looks awesome. I can think of off the top of my head. I'm like, that book sounds perfect for, this person and that person who are they're into rock and true crime. So
And
perfect.
there's different levels at which you can support her. I think she might
Yeah.
have hardcovers and whatnot. So just check her out.
Oh, cool. Or yeah, like an ebook version, stuff like that. That's cool stuff.
Yes, indeed.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, you went for the unboxing, so I'm gonna go for an unboxing that actually came from you. Uh, and yeah, yeah, yeah. News to me. So I've opened it, but I haven't looked inside. I just, made sure it was all in working order, as it were. So you're gonna have to you're gonna have, oh, there's a couple things. Yeah, help
Yeah,
me
there's a
out with
few.
some of this. Okay,
Okay.
so we'll go through. Let's open it. All right, so we're gonna start with Shadows Exposed.
Okay. So that
Tell me
is an
about that. Yeah.
EP by a Montreal based artist named Thomas Polychuk. He just goes by Polychuk on that EP. But it's a
Okay.
combination between sort of like, I don't know, like there's hip hop influences, but he's a guitar shredder. So
Okay,
you
cool.
put the guitar shred over these kind of like dark beats, and you've got something very unique. And I sincerely hope you enjoy that one.
Awesome. Yeah,
He's
this
also just the nicest guy in the entire world.
awesome. 5 tracks, Shadows Exposed. Cool. All right, so yeah, Polychuck 2021. Awesome, cool. All right, next up, oh, I see. Let's go. Here we go. This is one I know a little bit more about, but again, I think you can fill in the viewers. Sven Gali.
Yes, this is
Right
actually
over
something
there.
courtesy of the record company. They sent this copy to me for me to pass on to hopefully somebody who would appreciate it.
Mhm.
Svengali are from the Niagara Falls, St. Catharines area. This is their third album and first since the mid 90s.
Yeah.
And they're trying for a serious comeback. And again, I hope you enjoy it from my neck of the woods down here in Ontario.
I mean, I definitely will. I think, yeah, for if you're a fan of just classic, metal hard rock, that kind of thing, like they're a perfect band for that. And if you're like me, summertime is the time for that kind of music. So I think it'll be great. Yeah, it'll be awesome. Next up, oh, this
Indeed.
is one I do know about. This is Nobody's Perfect, Deep Purple live album, I believe. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is a
Yeah.
live album from their House of the Blue Light tour in the mid 80s, and it has some Deep Purple classics and some new Deep Purple stuff.
Yeah.
This is actually a second copy that came from my uncle's
Oh,
CD
cool.
collection. And so I was just waiting for the right person to pass it on. I think there's
Awesome.
some pretty solid live takes on that CD.
Yeah, I think Deep Purple, sometimes people don't investigate them enough, They know the hits, but Deep Purple are such a good deep cut band, I think. Like so many of their albums are worth getting in full and exploring. And they're definitely a band that a greatest hits just doesn't cut it, I think. So
And
live
also,
is,
I think
yeah,
it's important to experience a live album by them too, because they
exactly.
stretch out and there's a lot of soloing on that. And I think if I want to just draw your attention to one song, I'm going to ask you to pay attention to Child in Time.
Child in Time, which I mean, that's a classic. That's number, where's that on here? Track 6 on
There
this
you
one.
go.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a good
awesome.
live version.
Nice. And last, oh, I see a sticker here from our pal Tim Derling here. I'll have to show this off the proper way.
There you go.
Forgot to do that. Yeah, the
A
Tim Derling
TVC
there.
sticker
The
for you
TVC
for
sticker, nice. Yeah,
wherever you like to place stickers on.
exactly. So for those of you who don't know, Tim's Vinyl Confessions, another YouTube channel who right now doing a deep dive on Y&T. So if you're into that, hard rock again.
In promotion of that book right there, the
Exactly. Yeah.
Y&T album review by Tim Derling.
Yeah, and that's actually I've been loving that deep dive series because Y&T a band heard of but never really listened to, and now I'm like listening to the albums along with each coming episode. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The last CD here, Oktoberfest Cheer by Max the Axe.
Now, this is
Oh,
their
it's so
most
good. Yeah.
recent release, and I would have sent you more, but I'm completely out of promo copies. Local band from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada, four
Nice.
piece. This is what they call their punk covers EP, although two of the songs are originals.
Oh.
But it's definitely in a punk rock style, which I know you may
Mhm.
appreciate.
Yeah.
And the lead vocalist on this is a guy by the name of Eric Litwiller, who goes by actually the name Uncle Meat, is what he prefers.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll be damned, he is one of the best vocalists around. Um, I will point out, though, that he's also very
Mhm.
self-critical, and he himself doesn't like the Oktoberfest themed title track. And I'll be
Oh.
very curious to get your feedback on that title track because they went
Mhm.
for it. They
They
just went
went for it.
for it.
Awesome. I'm excited. Thank you so much for the package. In fact, I'll it's in clear bubble wrap, so I won't hold it up to the camera, but I'm putting a send back package to you with some local stuff from the area here, so that'll be cool to see too.
All right, on.
All right, so one item each down. Back over to you.
Okay, so I think next I will unbox this one. This is a new release, and I was waiting for a price drop, and it was originally about 52 bucks, and I think when I bought it, it had dropped to about 20 something. Anyway, I pulled the trigger as soon as I saw the price drop. But this is the much ballyhooed brand new album by Iron Maiden's Bruce Dickinson. This is the comic
Fantastic.
book edition. I've
Mm.
purposely avoided hearing any tracks aside from the one 7-inch single that I purchased. Aside from that, I haven't heard a single thing. I know it's a concept album, which is why there's a comic book within. My co-host over at Grab a Stack of Rock, Harrison Kopp, ordered a different version with a lenticular cover so that when you turn it, the image changes. I'm dying to see what that looks like. But I was holding out for this because I guess for me, if I'm going to dive into a concept album, I kind of might need a little bit of help figuring the story out and
Yeah.
the comic book should help. This is getting rave reviews, but I've avoided anything but headlines at this point. I cannot
Mhm.
wait to dive in. I love Bruce Dickinson. I love his entire solo catalog, with the exception of one album, which is 96's Skunk Works, a little different than
Mhm.
his normal output, but
Yeah.
oh, I can't wait. This is apparently his first solo album in 19 years,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
I gotta say, 2024 has been a good year for metal so far. Like Dickinson,
Priest.
Priest, yeah, like I think Blaze Bailey has an album out.
Yes, that's next on
Yeah,
my list.
yeah,
And also,
okay.
I'm hearing good things about the new Saxon.
Yeah, I've heard really good things. In fact, Saxon's last album was the first one I've really dedicated listening time to. It was really, really good. I just, so many, such good metal coming out. All right. So you got that, Bruce Dickinson.
Yeah.
I'll go with a new release. We'll go with the self-titled album Bleachers by Bleachers. Are you familiar with Bleachers at all?
No, I'm not, but I love the
No?
cover art.
Yeah, it's a great cover. So Bleachers is not a solo project, it's a band, but let's call it a solo project from Jack Antonoff, who's a fairly well-known producer and
Okay.
songwriter. He kind of came to prominence. He was in a band called Fun, who they had a couple of hits, Some Nights, When We're Young with Janelle Monáe. That band split. He kind of took on production helms. Artists like Carly Rae Jepsen, Lana Del Rey, especially prominent with Taylor Swift. And he's got sort of that influence in his own songwriting. But his own work under the name Bleachers, it's more Bruce Springsteen-y. I mean, they're both from New Jersey, but in terms of how he writes kind of anthems, he's maybe not as kind of hard rocking as, not that Bruce Springsteen is a hard rock outfit, but kind of the way Springsteen takes those influences. Let's just say if Bruce Springsteen was writing songs for Taylor Swift or Lana Del Rey, that's what this sounds like. So lyrically, a lot of those same motifs. It's a really introspective record. It's maybe missing a few, like one or two more kind of anthemic, great chorus rockers. Um, but like the track Modern Girl is really fantastic. I like this album a lot. It's really slow and theatrical. It's great for the headphones, but again, it might be missing one or two kind of catchy tunes to keep you coming back over and over. Um, but I think, yeah, a lot of people, it's a hard sell. I think you can easily sell it. It's Bruce Springsteen and Taylor Swift mushed together. And I think right away, people are going to know if they like that or not. Like I can tell that to someone and they're going to go, yeah, that sounds good. I'm going to check that out. Or like, no, I can give that a pass. But I would say like, hey, what does it sound like? The track Modern Girl is kind of the rocker on the album that I would recommend. Um, for the slower song, I would say Tiny Moves, or I don't know, it's Isimo, ISIMO. I thought maybe that was an acronym for what the chorus is, but the chorus has nothing to do with those letters. So I don't know. But yeah, it's a good album that I would recommend if that sounds interesting. Of like, how would a young person interpret Bruce Springsteen today? If they didn't grow up listening to those classics, Tunnel of Love, or Born in the USA or something like that.
I imagine it's similar, but with just bigger melodies and bigger choruses.
Very
That's
much
how I'm
so.
imagining that in my mind.
Yeah, it's definitely like a lot of modern production qualities, like again, which is why it's great for the headphones. Um, but it definitely has that kind of Springsteen storytelling aspect of,
That's
growing
cool.
up and waxing nostalgic about the past. And, it's unsettling, but it's the best we can hope for, that kind of feeling. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'm next.
Go
With
for
my
it. Yeah.
most recent arrival, like literally this morning,
Oh wow.
I went and picked this up. This is where's my, of course now I realize I didn't bring my Swiss Army knife into this room.
Mm.
So we're going to do this with a my finger. Um,
Yep.
you remember a couple of weeks ago, I did an episode on my channel with Tim Derling, the
Mhm.
aforementioned Tim of Tim's
Yeah,
Vinyl
yeah, yeah.
Confessions. We did Journey, and during that show, I realized I was missing something of Journey that
Right.
seemed within reach. So here it is. This is a recent reissue of something that dropped in price, just like the Bruce Dickinson. Sorry for all this
Mhm.
noise,
No, it's all good.
but this is vinyl. We have vinyl now.
All right, vinyl.
Here it is. This is the Tron
Oh yeah.
soundtrack by Wendy Carlos, but
Mhm.
including two songs by a little band called Journey.
Mhm.
So, we have Only Solutions performed by Journey, which is available on other Journey releases, like such as their box set and some of the remasters, bonus tracks. Fantastic pop song from the early 80s, pop rock. But exclusive to the soundtrack was 1990s theme, which I've never heard ever in my
Yeah.
life. So one more song complete in my collection thanks to the Tron soundtrack. And also, I am just sort of a soundtrack guy. I love soundtracks. You can't necessarily see them from here, but there's a stack of Star Wars soundtracks right around there. And that's where
Nice.
I
Yeah.
originated. I
Yeah.
came from the world of The Empire Strikes Back, John Williams, and my first albums were, in fact, LPs of soundtracks. Tron was never one of my childhood movies, but I've
Right.
recently been rewatching these on Disney Plus, and they're fun.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And Wendy Carlos, people might know that name from the Shining soundtrack.
Mhm.
So we have some synth, is what I'm anticipating here.
Yeah.
And I love that. There's a local synth group called the Seagram Synth Ensemble that I would highly recommend viewers check out. And I just love that kind of music. It's not what you associate with Grab a Stack of Rock, but
Mhm.
what's good? Man, anything can be
Sure.
good.
Of course, exactly.
The
And
price was right too. This was
yeah,
over $50 and it dropped to under 30. So I
yeah.
had to pull the trigger.
And I think, yeah, in that same episode you were talking about because Journey had their own Atari game, if I
They
remember
did.
correctly. Yeah, and you're mentioning that and how maybe that was inspired by Tron or the makings of that as well.
Well, when you see
That's cool.
Tron now today, it's so
Yeah,
obvious certain games are
yeah,
definitely part of it. Like say the Snake game that everybody had on their phone 20 years
yeah.
ago. That's definitely there in the light cycles, you know.
Cycle, yeah, terrific, awesome. So you got vinyl. I'll do vinyl. I pulled one
Okay.
piece of vinyl. So every year, sometimes just over the summer or sometimes a whole year, I'll dedicate more time to a genre or an artist that don't know a lot about, or I only know a few of their hits to kind of get into it. So in the past, I've done, I did all of Iron Maiden, I did all of Judas Priest, just as I know some of their hits, but let's investigate further. So I've done that. I did Bare Naked Ladies a couple years ago. So this year I picked a few genres. I'm going jazz fusion and
Ooh.
Canterbury. The offshoot of prog rock that's a little sillier, a little jazzier.
Oh
Um,
wow.
which is like anything with jazz is kind of hard. There's no real easy entry points. Um, so I picked up again, not considered the first jazz fusion, but the first kind of big jazz fusion, which is Miles Davis in a Silent Way.
Nice.
For many, and this is a not a record store day reissue, but I think it's obviously a recent reissue from I think a couple years ago. Sounds great. No bonus tracks or anything, but it's all right. So it's only 2 tracks long. You have the side one, which is shh/peaceful, and then side two, which is the title track, and it's about that time. Not that the track names really matter. And so this is kind of my first, not entry point into jazz or jazz fusion necessarily. I've listened to Hot Rats by Frank Zappa before, and that'll get more, critical listens, but kind of paying attention to it with what they were doing with jazz. And you think about the bebop from the mid 60s and earlier, and how not safe necessarily, but how kind of standard jazz that feels to us now. And then you go to
Mm-hmm.
something like this where it's not rock music in terms of it doesn't sound like a rock song. It's not, you're not going to listen to this and think of Chicago or something, or Lighthouse, Canada's Chicago. um, but it's almost like in feeling. If it's rock, it flows, like it feels improvisational, but also really guided by structure. It's like it's just really weird to listen to. Like it doesn't make sense, but at the same time, it feels like they're all soloing over each other, but in a really unique way. Um, it's again, I jazz fusion. You have to know what you're getting in for. Like it's not going to make sense. Um, but this came out, I think 69. Yeah, this came out 69. Yeah, 2019 is when this version came out. Yeah, just a really cool entry point, considered one of the first kind of really important albums for that genre. So Miles Davis in a Silent Way is my third pick for what's good.
I've never heard that album, but I do own 2 Miles, which are Jack Johnson and
Yeah,
On the Corner, both of which would fall into that jazz rock fusion.
yeah,
So I would like to hear that.
yeah,
And I'm curious who plays guitar on it because I think it's John
yeah.
McLaughlin on Jack Johnson.
This
I think.
one for what do we got? So we got Miles Davis on trumpet, Herbie Hancock on the electric piano,
Oh,
Chick Corea on electric piano,
oh yeah.
yeah, Wayne Shorter on tenor sax, Dave Holland on bass, Joseph Zawinul on electric piano and organ, yeah, John McLaughlin on guitar. So again, that's where you get that kind of fusion influence. I mean,
And
all of
yeah,
the
Herbie
guys.
Hancock, one of my favorite
Yeah,
albums that I played on the summer porch during Jazz Saturdays
yeah,
last summer was I can't remember the name of the album, but I have a Herbie Hancock that I absolutely adore.
yeah.
The opening track, Well You Needn't, is
Mm, yeah. So I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I've got lots of other stuff lined up. I do have Hot Rats. I have Mahavishnu Orchestra. I also have some, Herbie Hancock and Wayne Shorter and Weather Report stuff like that. So it's going to be a weird year. It'll be a weird year, but we'll
Another
get
one
into
I'll
it.
recommend to you,
Yeah.
there's a recent one that I just got, which is Pat Metheny,
Uh,
Bright Size Life with Jaco Pastorius on electric bass. And that's sort of the
mhm.
draw for me is that
Oh,
Jaco
okay.
Pastorius stuff. He's
Awesome.
so good.
Nice. It'll be on the list. All right.
Excellent.
Over to you for the final item.
Okay, so I thought I'd give you a bit of a sneak preview of things to come because,
Mhm,
as
mhm.
you know, I recently acquired the new stripped down Gene Simmons Vault box set,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which it comes with all the music, all 11 discs, including the bonus disc, which, there was no guarantee. And it comes with the full book with all the liner notes. And I got a version with some extras. So I want to show this off. And because there are 165 songs here, I'll just pick one to sort of talk about a little
Okay.
bit. But here is the Gene Simmons, what they call the action figure,
Of
but
course.
I'm
Yeah.
calling a statue because as you
Yeah.
can see, you can't manipulate or
There's no
pose
no
Gene.
action. Yeah.
No action.
No action.
This is, however, the very first action, the very first figurine of Gene depicted
Mhm.
without makeup.
Right.
And you can't see on the webcam, but the paint on the face is really nice.
Mhm.
It's very well done. Even though he's wearing an all black outfit, there is detail like the silver zipper is painted in, which you can kind of make out on the webcam there.
Yeah.
But it's actually a very nice figure. I'm keeping mine sealed because a
Mhm.
buddy of mine was just offered $100 for just this,
Wow.
and I paid $100 for the entire parcel.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's this "In Gene We Trust" coin,
Terrific.
which is quite heavy,
Yeah.
but I'm leaving that in the plastic as well.
Mhm.
And finally, the box set itself called The Vault, 165 mostly previously unreleased songs. Some of these
Mhm.
songs have been released since on the Kiss, Destroyer, and Creatures of the Night box sets, but here's where they originated. And I have reviewed now, written up, but not posted, the first 10 discs. And it's of mixed quality, but it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And the one song I wanted to spotlight appears multiple times in this set. Many of the songs do in different titles, different recordings. There was a song from the Kiss album Music from the Elder called
Mhm.
Only You. And
Okay. Yeah.
it wasn't one of my favorite songs on that album. But before they came up with that whole concept album, there's an earlier version on here which has so much more groove and bass and
Mhm.
and drive, and I'm like, that's the version. That is
Yeah.
the version of the song, and I would call it one of my favorite songs on this box set. What's really funny is just before we went into record mode, I was playing some of the material on the bonus disc, and
Mhm.
there's one song there that I've been wanting to hear my whole life, basically. Going back to 1987, Kiss put out a home video called Kiss Exposed. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yes, Kiss Exposed. That was what it was called. And Paul kind of pokes fun at Gene a little bit by saying Gene was writing these goofy songs back in the early 70s before they met each other. And he kind of tries to recall one song and he goes, it was like, I love Eskimos. And Gene
Yeah.
starts laughing because
Yeah.
he knows what he's referring to. And what he's referring
Mhm.
to is a song in here on disc 11 called Eskimo Sun.
Mhm.
And it's Only You from The Elder, but with completely
Oh.
different melody. It was much more Beatlesy. But the
Mhm.
melody is there. Where on The Elder, he's singing Only You. On this one, he's going Eskimo Sun. And it's amazing how a crappy idea from
Mhm.
1972 or 71 or whatever can become, in my opinion, the best song on this box set, which is
Yeah.
the later version of Only You that really grooves.
Mhm.
And the box set is full of surprises like that. It has so much music that appears in many different forms. And some of them you're like, wow, yes, nailed it. And some of them you're scratching your head going, what was he thinking?
Right.
But there's extensive liner notes, beautiful packaging. Each disc
Mhm.
has its own page like this with
Wow.
the track list. The tracks span from the 70s to basically the present day. There was like new songs that he was writing that were never released by Kiss, but there's new
Mhm.
material or newish material within the oldies on this box set.
Yeah.
And there's Gene with Cher, by the way.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Just page after page after page of scribbled lyrics,
Yeah.
scribbled notes, drawings, and lots of text from Gene. Just finding another
Mhm.
page to open to here. A lot of complaining about his former bandmates in Kiss,
Mhm.
Peter Criss and Ace Frehley, a lot of that, and
Yeah.
a few shots taken at Paul Stanley.
Sure.
For example, there's only one song in this entire 165 song set that was done with Paul Stanley on guitar and vocals.
Mhm.
But Paul was not interested in working with me on demos, you know.
Yeah.
Lots of interesting stuff in that book.
Yeah.
I want to save the rest because I do have a massive 12-part review coming, and I'm going to be
Awesome.
comparing my version to John T. Snow's version on his channel, The Collection.
Mhm.
But that's a preview for you of what's coming, what I have to say, and
Awesome.
I'm going to have a lot to say about that set.
Totally. For 100, like 100 Canadian?
100
So,
Canadian for the set, the
yeah.
statue, and the coin.
That's a great deal. There's so many box sets out there that I'm interested in, and then you see the sticker price, and you're like, it's not, you got to wait for it to drop. All right.
Yeah.
I'll finish off. I knew you were going to show a box set, so I'll show off one that I recently picked up. This is the English Beat, or the Beat in the UK. This is the Complete Beat.
Ooh.
So it's all of their studio albums plus bonus material and a little 32-page booklet. So you have the 3 studio albums, including bonus tracks. So I Just Can't Stop It from 1980, What Happened from 81, and Special Beat Service from 82. Then you get a bonus disc called the Bonus Beat. So disc 1 is all of their 12-inch singles released. Disc 2 is 3 different Peel sessions plus a live set from the Opera House in Boston. So there's some live material out there, and I think there's like a couple remix stuff, stuff that's not on here, but otherwise this is very much, as it says, the complete beat. I found a use, so this was used from a local record store, so it was $30 for the band's entire discography. So it's, what more could you want? I mean, the English Beat, their first album is a classic. They definitely go a little more kind of UK, not new wave, but sort of that new romantic pop that a lot of kind of those two-tone reggae artists did. Um, but if you're into that, it's good. I think kind of have to listen with that context, knowing that, the first album is, that ska reggae sound. After that, there's elements, and they do have that on there, but it's shifting more to a pop rock category. So if you're aware that they're a great band, and now this is all of it. I don't need any more, so happy to have that. And with that, I think we're wrapping up. But before we wrap up, I want to pass it back over to you to let people know where they can find you, what you've got coming up, what you want to promote, so on and so forth.
Okay, well, you can find me primarily at WordPress at MikeLadano.com, Ladano. But just search for Grab a Stack of Rock on YouTube. You can find us there. Um, what do I have coming up? Well, I'm not sure when this is posting, but
Later,
if it
later today.
Later today.
later
Okay.
today. Yeah.
So this coming Friday, Easter Good Friday, Jex Russell and I are continuing a tradition of doing 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time shows, which I
Mhm.
believe is noon out on your coast.
Yeah.
We did this last year and we're doing it again this year, but this year we are talking our top 5 albums from the years of our birth.
Oh,
So
cool.
1972 and
Yeah.
1985. I'm
Mhm.
struggling a bit.
Mm.
I'm struggling because I tend to listen to music more or less from like 74 and
Right. Yeah.
onwards, mostly in my life. So I'm
Yeah.
struggling a bit. And Jax, I have no idea what he's going to be doing, but you can count on seeing records and CDs for sure.
Awesome. Sounds great. Yeah, I guess I've got some other stuff on the go. I shared earlier that I got to be a judge for the Juno Awards this year, which was a lot of fun. Um, they
Jaw
keep
drop.
they keep security really tight, like to be part of that panel and stuff. Like it's an ongoing email process. Like they make it real hard to even listen to the music in the first place, which is good, I suppose. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. But otherwise, yeah, that's all I got. So thank you so much, and we'll catch everyone next time. Bye.
Thanks.